perfect sense to me. And we're gonna talk about so much. I have plans for us to talk about everything. Who knows what we'll get to, but I want to get to everything. One more question about you. Two more questions about you as an author, and then let's start talking about Kate. Because in discussing, I think, your books, we can break down a little bit of your process and how you came to each one with specific examples. Sure. But I wanted to ask you, since we've been talking about your 8-year journey and putting in the time and saying, "Suck it up, Kate," and getting in there. How did you come to meet our previous guest, Jennifer Mattson? How did you hook up with her as a literary agent, your ambassador to Kwan, who's now taking you on to greatness?
So, okay, I've told the story a few times at author things. So, when you're writing and you've got your manuscript, you feel like, okay, it's ready to kind of show the world. I want to get an agent, and everybody has a different story. And looking on lists and looking in the back of books that you've admired where you see the agent get credited. My story comes back to 2 simple words: play nice. Play nice in life. So I used to work in a newspaper in Monterey County, California, and I was a wee 20-something, like 22, whatever you are right when you get out of college and get like your first job. So I'm like 22 or so. And in comes a 16-year-old who is the teen voice on the op-ed page. And then she did she did some writing, she did some sort of filing. She just was a teenager working, 16, working in between high school and ballet class. And her name was Jennifer Mattson. And fast forward 100 years to Chicago, SCBWI, which I highly recommend if people aren't in SCBWI. We can come back to that later, but great organization for all the information, all the questions you have about starting out can be answered. So boom, I see Jennifer Mattson's name zip across my screen, and I'm like, mental Rolodex. Wait, why is that name so familiar? And I'm like, wait a minute, is that the wispy 16-year-old who was the teen voice? And so I messaged her, and she's like, yes, let's have dinner. So she's an agent for Andrea Brown Literary, and she's basically the Chicago office, and I live in Chicago. So we get dinner. Through the whole meal, all I'm thinking is, was 22-year-old me nice to 16-year-old her? And thank God, at the end of the meal, she goes, yeah, one time you told me I had good fashion sense. And I was like, yes, I played nice. And then right as we were ending, she said, hey, have you got anything? And I said, I do. And I just happened to finish the manuscript to what became my first book. And so she said, send it to me. And then she took me on as a client and sold it to Disney, Hyperion, and that launched our journey together. And so she's still my agent. So anything I have sold, Jennifer sold it for me.
And so that's after that long laminated roll tape with 65 feet of rejections.
Yes. Yeah. So I started in the early aughts with SCBWI. I remember recently I looked up at the first state conference they had. SCBWI is a national and international group it's a very clunky acronym for Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. So it's a great clearinghouse for if your question is, I'm doing a picture book, do I do the pictures? They will tell you no. And there's all sorts of, it's a wealth of information on everything. And I think I went to our state conference like in 2003 or something like that. And Jennifer sold, I think she sold Cupcake Cousins 1 to Disney in 2011 or 12. So yeah, something like that. So it was a journey. But so everybody's going to have their different story of how they connect with an agent, how they meet them. But I think mine just comes down to, thank God, 22-year-old me was nice. But this world, this little tiny children's book world is like microscopic. And so be nice to people because, your neighbor who, doesn't clean up their yard might sell a book and then say to you, hey, I have a great agent or an editor, show me your manuscript. They could be, not that everything is transactional, but, at some point you're going to need your book blurbed. If you've been a jerk to the world, nobody's going to blurb your book. Nobody's going to talk to you about your book because you're a jerk, so.
Whenever you say that, but I know some jerks with great blurbs.
Okay, so there's always the outliers, but for the most part, I think just as a life policy, just be nice to people. And, if you're good to the universe, I believe the universe will be good back, So, but Jennifer I cherish our relationship because we're kind of the yin yang of things. I'm always like, hey, look, a shiny thing. And she's always like, come back to the table, sit down. So she's great.
So you guys have been together how long now?
Whatever that is. I guess 7 years. Feels like longer, but yeah, I guess 7 years. I haven't thought about that, but yeah, I should look up in my calendar when we went to a meal together. But I think I signed a contract with Disney in 2012, and it came out in 2014. So I was working with her in 12, and it's 19. So yeah, 7 years. So.
Send her a lovely arrangement. Happy anniversary. Oh, Jennifer.
It's just I sent her here. I got some swag for Kate. I made just a canvas tote, which I'm sure anyone in the industry has about 100 canvas tote bags with a book on it. But I made her a little book swag, and sent it to her. I should probably have done, flowers or a bouquet of balloons, but she gets book swag from me.
She probably cherishes that canvas bag. She probably sleeps with it right next to her pillow every night. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, the thing that's good about her, and as people, just speaking to the agenting thing, if you're shopping for an agent and you're trying to figure out who to go with, it's an important relationship. And I will say, like, one of the things that makes me feel really good about Jennifer is she makes me feel like I'm her only client. And I have to remind myself that she doesn't need a bunch of emails from me, chit-chatty. Like, she has other people she's dealing with. She has a lot of people. But coming back, like, she makes me feel like I'm her only client. So she's really good. And I think as a life policy, other than play nice, is go to the love. And if you have somebody that's willing to give you a lot of attention, respond to your emails, communicate with you, those are all the things that you really want in an agent. And as you're shopping around, if you're not getting that from your agent, you should think about the relationship and what you want. But yeah, she's great.